Look who I got. She's being a little demon. Aren't you? Aren't you? Aren't you? Look at my gorgeous girl. It's my Freya. She wants to eat her sister. She's going right back over there. Okay. Oh. They're just playing, I promise. Okay. We just have a little bit left to do of the Reformation. Just a little bit. We have another Reformation we got to talk about. It's called Calvinism. And it should be really easy to remember who comes up with Calvinism. The Calvinist Church. It's this guy. His name is John Calvin. John Calvin. Okay, what they believe was so like to people back then, okay? But they keep getting kicked out of all these places. He and his people, like the people who believe it, I promise they're just playing. Freya. But the people who believe what he believes, like predestination, they keep moving around because they keep being kicked out of places. Eventually, he buys some land right here in this area, okay? In modern day Geneva, Switzerland. Now, at that point, it's not Geneva yet. It's just some land. On here, oh, I can't make this map big. Sorry. On here, it's right here. It's this blue place. Okay. One of the big things, what so many different Protestant groups are like, about with what they believe, is this idea called predestination. If you look at your notes, right here. Okay. Predestination. The root word here being destination, where you're going when you die. Then we definitely have the pre, which means before. So your destination has been predetermined. Okay? Here's what that means. John Calvin believed that God determined in advance who would be saved to go to heaven and who would be damned to hell. There are like verses in the Bible that talk about God chose you, stuff like that. Okay. But predestination, the idea is not just that you've been chosen, but in the beginning of time, you were chosen. Like when God created the world, he knew that you would exist when you do in 20, whatever we're in. And he chose at the beginning of time whether or not Freya, whether or not you would go to heaven or hell at the beginning of time. A lot of people, the Calvinists, find peace in that. Oh, God chose me at the beginning of time. But see, people who didn't believe that found that very exclusive. Not at all inclusive, like, come join us. Very exclusive. If you're not one of us, you're not in. And he had a specific number. I don't know. I kind of think it's 144,000. I didn't put it on here. But he had a specific number of people that he believed had been chosen. Well, that leaves everybody else out, right? So the people who weren't Calvinists, they keep kicking the Calvinists out. When he finally buys land, again in Geneva, well, in Switzerland, they set up their little kingdom. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Here we go. They set up their little kingdom right here, okay? Geneva, Switzerland. And they set it up with the idea that we were all chosen by God, and so we're all equal to God. Nobody's better, nobody's less. There are no nobles, there are no peasants. He wants to set up a classless society. Okay, what group of people, what social status of people are going to be more drawn to Calvinism? Nobles or peasants? Sure hope you said peasants. The peasants are like, oh, I matter. So of course they're going to be drawn to Calvinism. Okay. Um, every year I have kids who are like, oh my gosh, it's communism. No, it's not. But I understand why you're saying that. The idea of a classless society. And if you notice, we have Geneva, Switzerland, which down here is set up as a Calvinist, like kingdom, city, whatever you want to think of, but there's not a king, okay? But we also have little pockets here of Calvinists elsewhere. So it's not like that's the only place, okay? But it's another one of the Protestant churches at this time that breaks away. Okay, look at this map. If you're Catholic and you love the Catholic Church and you're looking at this map, dang, we lost the Lutherans up here. Darn. We lost the Calvinists throughout here. We lost the English here. This is Catholic, but there are Protestants in here too. We already lost the Orthodox Church. That's it for Catholic. There were people who loved the Catholic Church and they didn't want to leave the Catholic Church, but they did want to reform the Catholic Church. There were people who agreed with Martin Luther. Corruption. See, if you look at these three Protestant churches that we've looked at, they're kind of created for three very, very separate reasons. The Lutheran Church, I just forgot the word, corruption. They're pushing against corruption. The Calvinist Church is pushing against social status, classes. The Anglican Church, Henry just wants a divorce. So they're all kind of created for different reasons. The Catholic Church says, okay, we have so many different groups. And y'all, those aren't the only groups. We do have Pilgrims and Puritans and Quakers and Methodists and all the, actually, I think the Methodists are later, but that's okay. All these other group of people who are separating away from the Catholic Church. And there are people in the Catholic Church saying, maybe they're right. Maybe we do have some issues that we need to fix. But they want to stay Catholic. A fire truck just pulled up across the street. Okay. Here's a council. Look at who's at this meeting. Okay. Bunch of people in red. Bunch of people in black. Bunch of people in brown. Some ladies with weird white veils on their head. Oh, and that guy. This is the Council of Trent. Look at the dates of the Council of Trent. This is not one meeting that went on for however long that is, 20 something years. Okay. This is several different meetings that total went on for 20 years. All right. So it's a whole bunch of meetings with like time in between. The idea with the Council of Trent is, okay, do we have problems that we need to address? Do we? So what you have happen at the Council of Trent is a whole bunch of people in the Catholic Church. Here, oh, I zoomed in too much, sorry. You have the Pope. We have cardinals and bishops. We have priests. We have monks. We have nuns. If you miss one of the meetings, you just go to the next one. It's not like it was the same group of people every time. If you wanted to skip 2 meetings and then go. If you want to go to all of them, cool. But the idea was they were going to look at, okay, Martin Luther said indulgences aren't biblical. We're going to look for indulgences in the Bible. And we're going to go until we've been through the whole Bible or until we find indulgences. And if we don't find indulgences, we're getting rid of it. The Council of Trent is where we get kind of the modern day Catholic Church. Okay, so if you're Catholic and you've been thinking this whole time, I've never heard of indulgences. We don't do that. My priest doesn't do that. I know, sweet angels. It's because at the Council of Trent, they got rid of indulgences. Look at here. Indulgences are not allowed anymore. Now, I will say, Priest Bob in some little tiny church is still going to do them for a while. It's going to take time to get it completely gone. All right? But technically, it's not allowed in the Catholic Church. Excommunication as well is gone. Except you can be asked to not come back. But we can't send you to hell. Now, please remember that, because look at the date. 1563, yeah? We're going to have a guy right here. A 100 years later, we're still seeing people being threatened with excommunication. These kind of things, these kind of changes are not changes that happen fast. They're changes that happen slow, and they take like hundreds of years. That's normal, totally normal. That being said, they do come to the conclusion that Martin Luther's not right, that it's only faith, salvation that gets you to heaven. It is, but it's also good works. Your belief, your faith should have good works attached to it. Okay? There's a guy that comes along. I think his name's cool. It's right here. You'll hear people a lot in America say Ignatius, Ignatius, Ignatius of Loyola. This right here is Ignatius of Loyola. Oh, my thing's gone. Seriously, this is my last picture. There we go. This is Ignatius of Loyola. Okay. He's a priest. Yeah. You see his halo here. He was from Spain. You see his writing here. Okay. You see his cross here. Yeah. He was a highly intelligent priest. Not just biblically intelligent. Math, science, intelligent. He has an idea. He starts a group of priests called the Jesuits. The Jesuits. The Jesuits are the Society of Jesus. Okay. Basically, they're missionaries. They're spreading Catholicism specifically. They want the Catholic Church to continue, and they're spreading that, but they're doing it by going to places and teaching at the same time as they spread Christianity. When I say teaching, I don't mean teaching the Bible. Look, history, science, literature, language. Theology is the Bible. If you don't know that word, theology, Bible truth, okay? They're teaching secular things while they also are spreading Christianity to other places. There's going to be places like in the East, Japan and stuff, who will not allow Christian missionaries. but they will allow the Jesuits. Because the Jesuits don't come in and say, change to Christianity or you burn in hell. The Jesuits come in and say, hey, can we share our science with you? And then they weave in Christianity. Okay? It's not so in your face. Although there were definitely pockets of Jesuits who had a lot of power. I mean, I should say that. They're not corrupt. It's just that, well, I mean, everybody has corruption at some point. Like every group has some people that are corrupt. So some of them were, okay. But what I mean by that is, in certain places, the Jesuits are going to be like more important than, Bob the priest. People are going to have more respect for the Jesuit priests because they're not just smart in terms of biblical stuff. They're brilliant. They're like Renaissance man in the church. Make sense? Okay, this was a short one. This was a good day to be absent. Bye, guys.